Awakening the Observer Within, a step-by-step guide to mastering true self-observation through real-life examples. You've probably heard about the myriad methods and benefits of self-observation, often called inner contemplation. But let's be honest, when life throws us a curveball, many of us struggle to put these practices into action. So today, let's move beyond theory and step into the realm of practical application. Together, we'll explore how to truly harness the power of awareness in real situations. By the end of this, you'll know how to dissolve negative emotions and break free from the automatic responses hardwired into your brain. Before we dive in, here's a quick reminder. If you haven't already subscribed to our channel, please click the subscribe button and ring the notification bell to stay updated with all our latest content. Your support truly means a lot. Let's dive into today's topic. The key to inner observation, a crucial reminder. First, let me emphasize a foundational truth. Any emotion that arises in your mind is always tied to a thought. Without exception, every emotion you feel is triggered by a specific mental activity. Now, here's the deeper layer. This mechanism of judgment, the way your mind evaluates the shifting appearances of the external world, is what we call your karmic pattern, your habitual tendencies, or your automatic response system. What is inner observation really? Inner observation is the practice of profoundly observing this automatic system within yourself. It's not about suppressing or battling your thoughts or emotions, but about seeing them clearly as they are, without judgment or attachment. More importantly, inner observation is the art of staying fully present, remaining in a state of conscious awareness that's undivided and complete. Think of it as the ultimate tool to uncover and disarm the invisible habits of your mind that keep you stuck. Next, let's delve into a real-life example. Imagine yourself in a scenario where your automatic responses are tested. How can you use inner observation in the heat of the moment? Let me show you. How to practice true self-observation, a step-by-step example. Let's use a relatable scenario to illustrate how to engage in self-observation and transform negative emotions. Imagine someone who constantly worries about their health, fearing they might develop a serious illness. Every time they read news about a disease or hear of someone's diagnosis, anxiety and fear take over. They start overanalyzing their own body, noticing phantom aches or discomforts, and spiraling into thoughts like, what if I get this too? Now, let's guide this person. Perhaps you're imagining yourself here, through the practice of self-observation. Step 1. Allow and accept. The first step is to allow yourself to fully acknowledge what is happening. I am feeling anxious and afraid again because of an external trigger. That's okay. It's not my fault. It's simply a conditioned reflex, a deeply ingrained response stored in my genetic memory. There's no need to dig for the deepest, most hidden root cause. That pursuit often leads nowhere. Instead, accept that this is a reality you must face in this life. Who or what caused you to become like this no longer matters. What matters is acknowledging it without judgment. Say to yourself, it's okay to feel this way. I don't need to criticize myself for it or resist it. Just as someone born with a physical condition must first accept it to avoid a lifetime of struggle, I choose to embrace this moment fully. Even this fear and anxiety are worthy of my compassion. This is the foundation of self-observation, cultivating compassion for yourself. Step 2. See and name the emotion. Once you've shifted your perspective to one of acceptance, move to the next step. Recognize and name the emotion you're experiencing. What does this mean? It's as simple as identifying your current feeling and giving it a name. Anxiety, fear, frustration, sadness, anger, jealousy, loneliness. Your emotions are unlikely to fall outside this range. Correctly identifying the emotion troubling you is crucial because this act of naming creates the first separation between you and the emotion. In this case, you'd acknowledge, I feel fear. I feel anxiety. I see you, fear. I see you, anxiety. I allow you to exist. By doing so, you've successfully completed the first 2 steps of self-observation, seeing and accepting. Important note, avoid overthinking. During this process, it's vital not to engage in analysis or judgment. Don't try to figure out why you feel this way, whether you're overreacting or how to fix it. These thoughts pull you out of the present moment and deepen your entanglement with the emotion. Instead, rely entirely on your awareness. Let your consciousness, the part of you beyond your thinking mind, guide you. Step 3. Discover the thought behind the emotion. Now move to the next step. Observe the thoughts that fuel your emotions. This requires one key trait: complete honesty with yourself. This honesty isn't for others, it's for you. Look at your thoughts without filters, without labeling them as good or bad, right or wrong. For example, in this scenario, the person might recognize, I'm thinking, what if I get sick like that? I'm imagining a future where I'm helpless and afraid. I'm believing that every ache or pain could mean something catastrophic. These are just thoughts, no more, no less. They aren't inherently true or false, they're simply there. By naming and acknowledging them, you shine the light of awareness on the darkness of automatic thinking. A word of caution: avoid judgment. Being completely honest with yourself is challenging because it's easy to slip into judging your thoughts. Why am I thinking this? I shouldn't feel this way. Resist this urge. Judgment will only cloud your awareness. Instead, approach each thought with neutrality and curiosity, like observing clouds passing in the sky. Through these steps, you learn to dismantle the automatic patterns of your mind. Each time you practice, you create more space between you and your habitual reactions, allowing your true self, the one beyond the conditioned mind, to shine through. And in that space, true freedom begins. Let's return to our case study. I became aware of my fear. I didn't judge it, resist it, or try to push it away. Instead, I set aside my mental processes, shining the light of awareness on the fear itself. I allowed it to exist just as it was, without interference. Then, under the clarity of my conscious attention, I chose to face the thoughts hidden behind the fear directly and deliberately. At that moment, something remarkable happened. I realized I was no longer trapped within the fear. Instead, I was observing it from a third-person perspective. And as I watched, the true source of my torment revealed itself. Behind the fear lay a repeating loop of thoughts, visions of being diagnosed with a terminal illness and the cascade of devastating consequences that would follow. I imagined unbearable pain, the slow, agonizing approach of death, the sorrow of having to let go of everything I hold dear. I pictured the heartbreak of parting from loved ones, my partner, my children, my family. These were the thoughts fueling my fear. It was this loop of imagined suffering that had been tormenting me, pulling me into anxiety and unease. Stepping into awareness. At this point, you've taken a profound step. You've examined the very thoughts and feelings that drive your emotions. You've successfully separated yourself from the automatic reactions of your mind. You've become an observer. Trust me, this is a monumental achievement. It signifies the separation of your true self from your thoughts and your ego. It marks the arrival of your free will. Have you noticed something? So far, we haven't judged or analyzed these thoughts.
Why?
Because this entire process doesn't rely on the mind at all. What comes next? Now that you've clearly seen the thoughts behind your emotions, what should you do next? The answer is simple: observe and do nothing else. Don't judge. Don't intervene. Just watch patiently. This is the time to examine when and how these thoughts are triggered. Notice the patterns, the situations, conditions, or experiences that set off these habitual reactions. This is your automatic response mechanism, your habitual thinking pattern, your karmic cycle. It's what you're here to unravel. Stay silent. Stay still. Keep observing. And as you do, something magical happens. You'll begin to notice the emergence of a new version of yourself, calm, steady, and free. This moment marks the end of unconscious living and the beginning of your return to your true essence. Revisiting the example. Returning to our case, I quietly observed my thoughts. I noticed a clear pattern. Every time I heard about someone being diagnosed with a serious illness, my mind would instantly leap into catastrophic scenarios, imagining myself in their place. Fear would take over like clockwork. This was one of the switches that activated my fearful ego. But as I delved deeper, I discovered something even more profound. My automatic reaction wasn't limited to news of illness. It extended to any unsettling information or uncertain change. My mind had a tendency to imagine the worst outcomes, casting myself as the victim of these imagined disasters. And each time I was pulled into a spiral of fear and anxiety. This was my habitual response, my mental autopilot. But as I saw it clearly, it felt as though a light had pierced the darkness. I said to myself, there it is again. I see it. And with that simple act of recognition, the power of those thoughts began to dissolve. I knew that going forward, whenever similar situations arose, I could remain alert. I could watch my mind carefully, noticing if it tried to run the same program. I would no longer be swept away by it. The miracle of awareness. If you've followed these steps sincerely, you've likely noticed something extraordinary. Much of the negative energy that was troubling you has already dissipated. It's almost magical. This is the power of awareness. When you don't identify with your thoughts, they lose their grip on you. The truth is simple. Most of us believe we need to analyze, judge, or solve our emotions to feel at ease. But this is a trap set by the mind, a solution rooted in duality which can never address the root cause. Instead, the practice of awareness creates a quiet, peaceful space within you. And in that space, something miraculous happens. Your karmic patterns, your deeply ingrained negative energies, begin to dissolve on their own. It's like sitting in a dark room and lighting a candle. The light naturally dispels the darkness. Anchoring yourself in the present. At this point, you've completed most of the inner work. But there's one final step. Bring your awareness fully back to your body and anchor yourself in the present moment. Stand up if you can. Feel your feet firmly planted on the ground. Take a few deep breaths, focusing entirely on the sensation of breathing. Feel the air entering your nostrils, filling your lungs, and leaving your body. As you do this, remind yourself, I am here with my body. I am fully present in this moment. I am free. With this, you've reclaimed your true self. You've transformed a moment of fear into an opportunity for growth. A lifelong practice. Now, go forward and immerse yourself fully in life. Whether you're working, spending time with loved ones, or simply enjoying the present moment, do so as a truly free being. Will challenges arise again? Of course. You'll face countless automatic reactions and waves of negative emotion. But there's no need to worry. You've learned to embrace and allow them without being controlled by them. You've mastered the art of awareness. Through consistent practice, this process will become second nature. What once seemed like a series of daunting steps will unfold in an instant. This is the result of deep, sincere effort. Only by committing yourself fully to this practice can the transformation happen naturally. Final reflection. Remember, awareness is not about striving or forcing change. It's about creating space. In that space, true healing and transformation occur. So light your candle. Be present. And trust in the power of your own awareness. Thank you for watching this far. I hope it has touched your heart and inspired your journey. If you find value in this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up to help share our message. I'm really interested in hearing your thoughts on today's topic. If you enjoyed the content, drop a 1 in the comments below. If it didn't resonate with you, feel free to leave a 0. Your feedback is incredibly helpful and ensures I can continue creating videos that match your interests. Thank you for being part of our community.